Hello everybody, this is Dr. Karapetkova and I'm going to be walking you through a workshop today to help you start thinking about a draft of Project 4. This is our final essay of the semester. I know you're as excited about that as I am. And we're going to start with what we already know about the topic. So think about the research that you've done, think about the things that you're interested in the topic. You might want to think about the reasons why you chose this topic to begin with. And the first thing I'd like you to do is brainstorm things about your topic that are interesting to you. And you can think big or small. So you can think about large concepts that encompass your whole topic, or you can think about smaller aspects, details within that topic. You could start with a list and then think about a larger category that organizes your list. Or you could start with a category and then generate a list of ideas or information. You can also just free write about what you're most excited about. And I'd like you to take about 5 minutes. Give yourself this time to really come up with some ideas. Take about 5 minutes here on your brainstorm. Go ahead and pause the video while you write. Now I'd like you to start thinking about an angle or a stance that you saw as you were working on your research project. So these could be different positions that your sources took. It could be positions they argued for or argued against. It could also be positions that you thought of while you were reading your sources. So think about different angles, different stances, different arguments that you see within your topic. I'd also like you to think about the ones or one that you most agree with. I'd also like to think about if there's something you want your readers to believe about this issue. What do you want to tell your readers in terms of a position on this topic? So go ahead and take about 5 minutes here, pause the video, and brainstorm about an angle or a stance. Now I'd like you to think about your personal experience. Do you have any experience yourself with this topic? Or is there stories of people that you know that relate to this topic? What do you already have as experience that might come into play in this essay? I'd also like you to think at this point about what you know about your topic based on our book, Tell Me How It Ends, that we read earlier in the semester. Was there any information from the book that you want to draw from? Go ahead and write that down now. So pause this video while you think about your personal experience and information from the book that might relate to your topic. Now I'd like you to think about other people's interests. What do you think your classmates would be most interested in knowing about your topic? What would they be most surprised to learn? Were there any questions that came up during your presentation or during the peer review of Project 3 that you'd like to answer more substantially? What were those questions and how would you answer them? Take a few minutes here to think about what would be most exciting for other people about your topic, and pause the video while you write. So now that you have a good amount of writing and brainstorming about your topic to work with, we're going to start working on finding a focus. Did you see some kind of a topic, angle, or focus within your writing as you were working on those brainstorming activities? If you did, go ahead and write it down as best you can here. If not, why don't you look back over what you've written and see if you can find a focus that interests you. And just pause the video while you go ahead and write down your topic, angle, or focus as it is at the moment. Now I'd like you to gather your thoughts around this topic. So how much do you already know about your topic? What else do you need to find out? What questions do you have about it? And what other kinds of sources do you need or could you use to help you understand your topic better? So I would like you to come up with at least one source here. It doesn't have to be a scholarly source, but at least one kind of source. It could be any source. It could be something that you find online. It could be a conversation. It could be some observation. So go ahead and think about another kind of source that might help you with your topic. Take a few minutes to write here. So now that you have some idea of a topic or a focus, and now that you've got a substantial amount of writing related to your topic, we're going to start working on coming up with a thesis statement. And as we do this work, it's really important for you to remember that this is just a working thesis at this point. Your thesis can absolutely be revised. If you start drafting your essay and you figure out that you're going in a different direction from what your thesis statement originally said, then you can go back and revise your thesis statement. So it's just really important for you to keep an open mind at this point in the drafting process. But what we want to do when we write a thesis statement is make sure that our thesis is specific, focused, narrow, clear, and contains one main idea. It's not a simple statement of fact, but it's something worth discussing. It tells us what the essay will cover, why the issue is important, how the essay will approach the issue. And this is a lot to get across in just one or two sentences, so we're going to work on today drafting a good thesis statement. The first thing that a strong thesis needs to do is it needs to take a stand. Your thesis needs to show your conclusions about your subject. So here's an example of a thesis statement that needs to be revised. There are some negative and positive aspects to illegal immigration in America. Well, this thesis fails to take a stand, and the phrase negative and positive aspects is really vague. We're not quite sure what this essay is going to discuss. So let's see if we can revise this thesis statement so that it does take a stand and is a little more specific. Because illegal farm laborers often work for lower wages, they help support the U.S. economy by making agricultural products more affordable. So now we've taken a clear position on this topic. Okay, we've said that illegal farm laborers are positive, right? They're helping the U.S. economy. And we've also narrowed the idea of illegal immigration down to one aspect of the economy in terms of agricultural labor. A strong thesis statement justifies discussion. You want to make sure that you're telling your readers what is the point of the discussion that they're about to read. So here's a thesis statement that needs to be revised. Gangs in Central America often drive young people to leave their home countries. Well, you know as well as I do from reading our book this semester, this is just an observation. It's just a statement of fact. Your reader isn't going to be able to tell the point of your essay just from this thesis. So let's see if we can revise this. While many Americans view illegal immigration as an economic or national security issue, we actually should view it as a human rights issue because a large number of young people immigrate to escape gang violence in their home countries. Great, so now we've got a thesis that tells us how our topic actually contradicts a widely accepted view. This is a really good strategy for creating a strong thesis statement because you're showing your readers how your topic is controversial and how your views are not the expected views. So readers are going to be interested in reading the rest of your essay to see how you support your point. This thesis is still quite broad, but at least it justifies discussion. A strong thesis statement needs to express one main idea. Readers need to be able to see a clear path through your paper, and if your thesis statement expresses multiple major ideas, it's just going to be really confusing. So here's an example. Governments should treat illegal immigrants as political refugees, and gangs are extremely dangerous in many of the immigrants' home countries. Now, you and I know there's a connection between these two different ideas, but our general reader probably wouldn't know that there's a connection there. And even if we did know there's a connection, this thesis statement does not make that connection for us. So let's see if we can revise this to make the relationship between these ideas clear. Because young people from El Salvador are most often immigrating to escape gang violence, they should be treated as political refugees and offered asylum in the U.S. This is a really strong thesis because it shows how those two ideas are related, how gang violence and political refugee status are related. It also has narrowed the discussion to one location and one age group. A strong thesis statement is also specific. Your readers want to know exactly what your paper will be about, and you also want to make sure that your paper is treating something that you can actually manage in 4 pages. That is not a lot of space. So your topic really needs to be focused and specific. Here's an example of a thesis that needs to be revised. Illegal immigration has many causes and effects. Well, obviously illegal immigration as a whole can't be discussed thoroughly in a short essay. And many causes and effects is really vague. We don't know anything about what this paper is going to cover. Here's a much better version. Illegal immigration persists at the southern border because of poverty in the Northern Triangle and the promise of better pay and better working conditions in the U.S. Now we've got a really nice, focused, manageable topic. We've narrowed in on a specific location. We've also defined a specific cause for illegal immigration, an economic cause. So this is a much more specific thesis. So now that we've had a chance to discuss some of the general aspects of thesis statements, we're going to work on drafting our thesis. And I want you to keep in mind as you work on drafting a working thesis statement that a good thesis is usually going to have these 4 attributes. It's going to have a take on a subject that reasonable people could disagree about, so it's going to have a clear position. It's going to deal with a subject that can be adequately treated given the nature of the assignment, which in this case is a 4-page position essay. It's going to express one main idea, and it's going to assert your conclusions about a subject. So let's go ahead and get started. I'd like you to just write your topic down, whatever it might be. Okay, just go ahead and write it on the page or on your screen. My topic right now, I've decided, is going to be gang violence. And it's very broad at this point. It's just a fragment. It's not a thesis statement. It's just a general subject. But that's where I'm going to start. Next, we're going to try to narrow the topic. Your readings, both from our class text and from your research, have hopefully given you some more specific understanding of your topic. And so I've decided I'm going to narrow my topic a little bit and think about the way gang violence drives illegal immigration. Now, this fragment announces my subject, and it also focuses on one aspect of gang violence, how it connects with immigration. It also raises a subject reasonable people might disagree on or at least discuss. And it's also likely many readers aren't aware of this issue. You should note this fragment still is not a thesis statement because our reader still doesn't know our conclusions about this topic. So now I'm going to try to take a position on this topic. I'm going to revise it to look like this. Gang violence and illegal immigration lead to mental health issues. Now I've got a position, a causal relationship. I'm thinking about what problems the gang violence immigration causes, and I've chosen to focus on mental health. Now I want to try to be a little bit more specific about the kinds of health conditions and the kinds of health problems. So I'm going to make a clearer assertion about my topic. I'm also going to focus in on a specific location. So here's my revision. Gang violence in El Salvador forces thousands of young people to immigrate to the U.S., and the trauma they experience before, during, and after their journey causes serious mental health issues that are often overlooked. Now I've answered the question, what impact does gang violence and illegal immigration have on young people? When I started thinking about this topic, I wasn't quite sure where I wanted to go. But my research gave me a sense of one of the serious problems with this immigration cycle. I also learned how the mental health issues that immigrants face are often ignored. They're not treated. So my thesis now reflects my insights on this topic. It's really specific. I've got a specific location, a specific group of people, and a specific cause. So go ahead and work on drafting your thesis now, and just remember that you want to make sure it's clear what your position is on your subject. You've got a nice, narrow, focused subject that can be adequately treated given the nature of the assignment. Make sure you think about whether you can narrow your topic based on location, based on age group, or country of origin, or other kinds of aspects. Make sure your thesis is expressing one main idea, and make sure it's asserting your conclusions about your subject.